If your employees have to break rules to meet production quota, you are mismanaging your company. What about breaking moral codes to meet sales goals? It's sad, man. Been in sales a long time. I do have morals, and I've gotten pretty far in my career while always putting the client first. But I sit by year after year and watch people advance by screwing people over to push numbers. And I've often felt like my family's financial stability was at risk due to not always being able to keep up with goals that are inflated by those of us who don't seem to care who they hurt. I'm trying to eventually move into the training side of things. The top of the corporate and literal world is chock full of psychopaths and sociopaths for a very good reason. Well, very bad reason when you think about it. It's a twisted form of natural selection. No, it's just regular selection. That's how it works. The malevolence and cruelty of humans who get joy out of those behaviors is not really very natural. Some animals play with their prey, but it's usually because, while they aren't hungry, they still have the ingrained skill sets and instincts of a hunter, with none of the overarching self-control and understanding the waste. The logical reasons for cooperation and planning. And also general empathy and sympathy, which are caregiving instincts as well as pro-social. Usually humans develop self-control and empathy. Whereas these humans are interested in self-control as a means of greater reward, and fulfilling the instinctual and sensual aspects of themselves. They lack pro-social instincts, and are therefore a malignancy to the species. A form of human parasite. They'll destroy the whole thing for a lesser reward, because they don't have the hardware to be satisfied with the greater. That may be true, but it's still natural selection. The individuals that can outcompete their peers come out on top. Unnatural selection would be ensuring only people with morals can advance, regardless of actual effectiveness. Hey buddy, we pulled ourselves out of the mud together. Stop being an apologist for sociopaths. They're fucking you too, maybe don't be so goddamn proud of them for it. The environment we've created for them to succeed in is unnatural. If we were still hunter-gatherers, they'd get their skills bonked in for their heartless, brutal behavior. You attribute joy of the cruel action itself. That's wrong. The joy is from the end result and no one cares about the process. That is the very definition of natural selection. Yeah, when the society you occupy rewards the lack of empathy, crushing smaller companies, and lobbying, what did you expect would happen? Capitalism is meant to reward those who make it to the top because they supposedly know best, and obviously laying the future and well-being of everyone else in their hands is genius when they know best. I mean, someone who was cutthroat and competitive obviously would create jobs for the little guy, and make sure it's all fair, right? They wouldn't increase the price of a life-saving drug by 300% or more just to make a quick $1,000, right? They wouldn't inflate their pay by cutting everyone else's, would they? Well, if they did, they know best. It's a dumb idea to base a society around. We've adapted to use our minds to overcome our environments. You've selected against this. Rampant at one of my old jobs. They raise the quota, we have to cut corners to make numbers. Oh, you guys are hitting the new numbers, guess we'll raise them again. Cut more corners. Customer finally comes in for a tour and notices. Guess who gets in trouble? Hint, not the management. In my experience, quotas are an unattainable goal used to increase productivity with the promises of bonuses that you'll never reach, and then used as a reason to fire anyone they want, whenever they want, using unmet quotas as reasoning, although no one else meets the quota either. Or, in my case, I crush the quota company-wide just to be drowned in even higher quotas the following year with no increased compensation, meaning I actually make less since it's harder to bonus with higher goals. So I was forced to leave, at my choice, and now the next schmuck is screwed. Shit rolls downhill. I watched A Bug's Life last night and one line stood out to me. Hopper to the princess, first rule of management. It's always your fault. They'll definitely tell you they're getting all the trouble though, and it can definitely be stressful, sure, but they'll still keep their job and get a bonus while you wait for a quick thumbs up. Maybe in a civilized society. In America, if you got caught breaking rules, especially safety or legal, that's your problem. Employer told you to follow all rules. Fired. No workman's comp, you were violating safety rules. If you fail to meet quota, that's your fault. 8-fingered Bob made quota just fine, you should be able to do more if you have all 10 fingers. Fired. The difference between a bad employee and a good one is the good one knows and follows policy and procedure. The difference between a good employee and a great one is the great one knows when to break policy and procedure and get the job done. The difference between a great employee and a fired employee is that the fired one got caught. The difference between a great employee and a fired employee is that the fired one got caught by someone, something that caused the company harm since they were happy to turn a blind eye until that point. In America, if you got caught breaking rules, especially safety or legal, that's your problem. That's the whole world, babe. Definitely not exclusive to America. And the best managers aren't those that get decent results while following the rules, it's those that get the best results no matter if they broke rules or not. People don't matter. Your health, your safety, your life does not matter to the employer. Only the profit matters. So take care of yourselves, people, no one else will. When I was in high school, I worked at a factory where we were required to do maintenance while the machine was running. I also remember my department head screaming herself blue at my shift manager because we hadn't taken time to calibrate anything in over a month, and one machine messed up a 50K order so bad that it had to be scrapped. Well, we voted out all the evil unions that were formed to give workers some negotiating power. Never mind the fact that unions basically guarantee a higher standard of living, as well as representation in issues like firing. They're evil socialist organizations who want you to pay fees. It's even worse because if you look at the statistics, they are there. Unionized workers across the board make 30% more than their non-unionized counterparts. But apparently, wanting to get paid more as an employee is evil and anti-American, is what I've been told constantly. Unions were corrupted. Bad workers couldn't be fired, good workers couldn't move up because the unions protected seniority above performance. They had their purpose fighting for workplace safety. Now they just seem to serve to keep the established and the incompetent on top. I'm not arguing that unions turned into a pain in the butt, but versus the zero protections that workers get now, they helped some. Now employers pretty much hold all the cards. Sure, unemployment is low, but if the jobs are chocolate-covered turds, who cares?